Third of all, a woman who's doing well is your teammate, and the idea that anybody would be intimidated by that is out of control. I believe most men don't believe this nonsense, but I just want to make sure it's 100% clear. If you're doing well and if you're succeeding, let your light shine. A strong man will appreciate that. He won't be scared of it. Talk to you later. Peace.
So what's good, homies? It's your man, Dr. BOA. When men get into situations in their lives that make them less masculine, they tend to want to perpetuate those situations as the best situations to be in and try to find any little thing they can to make the situation seem less beta. And one man who's an expert at this is Boyce Watkins. Boyce wants to act like he's this purveyor of masculine excellence or masculine energy. But when you really think about it, we can look at him until he's not. We can listen to him until he's not. And I don't have a problem with a man not being a purveyor of masculinity. But that same man cannot sit around and act like he is, because there are young men who can't yet discern if a man is representing what he says he's representing by looking at his life. Now, recently, there's this podcast clip floating around where this guy's talking about how he views a woman who goes out and chases her career her whole life and then turns around. Now she's looking for a quality man. She's looking for an alpha male in her life. And he, just like me, does not want that woman at that point because, yes, she makes a great business partner. She makes several other great inputs into society, but she doesn't make a great wife for a strong man. See, this isn't about whether you have money or not. This is about whether you're a strong man, whether you're a masculine man. Because the problem with that woman is she lacks femininity. And we, as men, want a feminine wife. Let's take a look at this video, man, and we'll come back and chop it up on a real tip.
She says, I got a good job. I make very, very good money. And she says, the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, it's like, who wants you? Who wants you? You're right. Like, once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself.
I don't know what strange little man or little men believe that a woman who makes money disqualifies herself. First of all, this is not a basketball game. You're not disqualified from anything because you're doing well. Second of all, men who know how to do well are not intimidated by women who do well. Third of all, a woman who's doing well is your teammate, and the idea that anybody would be intimidated by that is out of control. I believe most men don't believe this nonsense, but I just want to make sure it's 100% clear. If you're doing well and if you're succeeding, let your light shine. A strong man will appreciate that. He won't be scared of it. Talk to you later. Peace.
Now, when you see this and you see Boyce's response, how are you, who is the same guy who took this picture with your new wife and Willie D, how you going to turn around and say someone else is suffering from ED? When the reality of the scenario is, if anybody's suffering from ED, it's you. You don't show any backbone. You never have, even before you got married. This is the woman you always wanted. You couldn't get her, and now you get her when you're her best option. If she had a better option, she wouldn't be with you now. But you're too blind to see that. And you're always opening your mouth trying to down some young man who has his head on right. Okay, Boyce, you finally got the girl. But she's not the girl you wanted. Other men got that girl. You get the grown lady she's become. All of those things you desire are gone. But you so caught up in finally getting the girl that you can't see that. Man, you are not an expert on how men should be dealing with women. You are just the opposite. You are the least likely to give a man positive information about how he needs to deal with women. You can't even give a man positive inspiration about how you deal with women. So how you gonna give him information, Boyce? And I normally don't call guys by name, but this is sickening for you of all people. To look at this young brother and say, well, if you talk like him, then you're suffering from ED. Boys, you're an old guy. If anybody's suffering from ED, it's you. Let's be realistic. So don't deflect from yourself and try to press the issues you're having in your life into this man's life. He's doing what a man does. You know what you did? You got the woman you chose. You got her. It don't matter what nobody say, you still got her. And if that man says he don't want that kind of woman, guess what? BOA agrees with him. I don't want that kind of woman either. I don't need no woman who got a career, man, done made all this money and did all that. That's not what the traditional relationship is based on. And if you're going to be in a traditional situation like marriage, then you need to be in a traditional setup. The crazy thing is, boys, you make the money and you still ain't in a traditional setup. You know why? Because you have to be a certain type of man to be in that situation. Had to be a certain type of man to place those type of demands on your woman. Why? Not because you're an overbearing man, but because you are the man who is going to hold up your end of the bargain. So you have the right to demand those things. And if you have a woman who feels like she's put in the type of work that you put in life, you're not going to get that from her. We all know that. It seems like you don't know it. And the fact that you act like you don't know it, this goes to show, man, that you are not a man who needs to be speaking to men about how they should be in a relationship with a woman unless they want to be beta males like you. If they want to be the type of man you are, who's in this picture again, come on, man. Why are we going to listen to you talk to us about women when none of us want to end up in that scenario, in that picture, with a guy whose energy is obviously positive to our woman? See, the reality of a scenario with a man like this is that he simply doesn't realize that deep down inside, we know you wish you could have got the girl back when you wanted her. We know that. You finally got the girl, you're overjoyed. But it doesn't change the fact that you are still the same dude who would accept the girl after she's been with men that she assumed were better than you. And now that you're her best option, she's there. You got the girl. See, we're men who want to get the girl when she's still young. We want to get her in her 20s, not in her 40s or 50s. We don't want that. It's not like you met the girl when she was in her 30s, 40s, 50s. No. You knew when she was young, in her best marketplace value. You knew that. So don't you dare look at any other man and say that he must be suffering from ED because he don't want a woman. Let me tell you something. If you suffer from ED, that's the kind of woman you want. She's the woman who don't even know what it takes to please her. If you got ED, she's the one you want because she ain't even big on intimacy anyway. That's how you got the girl. She got to the point in life where she's not big on intimacy because every day she got to wake up to a man she don't want to be intimate with. Accept that about yourself. And see, I don't have anything to do with nothing you do, man, but I'm not going to stand back and let you take this young man who is speaking the truth of life. The truth of life. See, you don't know what it is to deal with women of today because you've been too busy waiting for the woman of yesteryear to become your woman of today. The reality of the scenario is this. When you speak on women, you always speak from a position of servitude. You always speak from a position of reverence, and you always speak from a position of powerlessness. And so any man who wants to have a position of power in his relationship should never listen to you, ever. Listening to you puts the man in the same situation you're in. And I'm going to be honest with you. I know thousands of men, and I personally don't know any, who want to be in that situation. As a matter of fact, I meet men who are trying to get advice on how to get out of that situation. Let's be realistic. ED sufferers are the men who settle for the woman who really didn't want them in the first place. Men who are out here building themselves into the most alpha version of themselves and becoming that version of themselves only accept what they demand. Because like I always say, you deserve what you demand, but you also deserve what you accept. And unfortunately, you have accepted the girl who didn't, and now she does. only because she can't do any better now. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.